All right, everybody. How are we doing today? Let's have a look here. What are we on? Oh my, I think I've lost my bookmark. I know we're on In Carnuntum, part 11. Going back old school. Okay, here we go. There's my bookmark. My trusty bookmark. All right. 11 in Carnuntum. To the standbys above, add this one. Always to define whatever it is we perceive, to trace its outline, so that we can see what it really is, its substance, stripped bare as a whole, unmodified, and to call it by its name, the thing itself and its components to which it will eventually return. Nothing is so conducive to spiritual growth as this capacity for logical and accurate analysis of everything that happens to us. To look at it in such a way that we understand what need it fulfills and in what kind of world, and its value to that world as a whole and to man in particular, as a citizen of that higher city, of which all other cities are mere households. What is it that this thing that now forces itself on my notice? What is it made up of? How long was it designed to last? And what qualities do I need to bring to bear on it? Tranquility, courage, honesty, trustworthiness, straightforwardness, independence, or what? So in each case you need to say, this is due to God, or this is due to the interweaving and intertwinings of fate, to coincidence or chance, or this is due to a human being, someone of the same race, the same birth, the same society, but who doesn't know what nature requires of him, but I do. And so I'll treat them as a law that binds us, the law of nature requires, with kindness and with justice. And in inconsequential things, I'll do my best to treat them as they deserve. So this was, I'd say, a bit of a medium to longer size one. Really, as we're kind of diving into it here, I'm not going to line item by line item analyze this, but kind of take it in as a whole. I think what he's getting at here, what he's trying to say is that it's through our ability to logically rationalize things and to perceive the world. There's going to be things that come up that, as he put it, are by God's intention, by fate, by coincidence, by another person's doing, by the natural order of things. There's going to be things that ask us to respond. And our response is best served to us if we can see what that thing or act or the thing that we're intending to respond to, the clearer we can define it logically and understand it logically. And that's not to say that we're just cold-blooded looking at it with no emotion. These things that come up and pop up might invoke some fairly powerful and strong emotions. They might be a barrier to a goal, or they might be a perceived setback, or a very real setback at times. Or they could be something that's really exciting and gets us energized to move forward at a faster pace than maybe we've been going at before. But nonetheless, the better we can understand these things that evoke emotions, the better we can then craft an appropriate response, whether it's how we communicate with another person, how we communicate to ourselves, how we understand what we need to do next. The better that is defined logically and with emotions aside, even though the emotions might be a motivating force, or even a halting force at times, the better we can understand that, the better our response, and the more the word would be like the more rational and calculated our response would be. And from that, ideally, we'll have a better outcome in dealing with that response, or with that thing that we're responding to. And he goes on, or there's a part in there where he touches on I'm pretty sure it was in this one anyway. It was just these things then call upon us, these random things that they're not necessarily planned. You might have a goal in mind and an end in mind, but you're not going to be able to foresee everything that will come up along that way, either as you encounter obstacles directly related to that goal, or as outside things, like maybe I always use this one, but like a death can be one of the most sharp and most profound, I wouldn't want to call it a barrier, but just out of the blue setbacks, and that cause us to focus a lot of our energy and focus on another thing outside of the goal, and kind of take away from our focus on the goal, and with due reason. If you want to be a person that is there for your family in support and grieving together, and have that integrity, be known as a person that can be trusted in a time of duress and sadness. And as I say this, it sounds very cold, but the people that are able to put aside their other goals and put them on the back burner for a moment, or not even a moment, but for as long as it takes to process with the family and be there together, that's probably somebody that you want on your team, somebody that's a high functioning, competent person, but that they're not just solely focused on excelling and attaining their own personal goals, but also goals and values of theirs, like as we just said, like being there, like being connected well socially, being supportive in a time of need for others. And so these things, while they can be a setback to one goal, they can also be opportunities, and that's what he's getting at here. The world, God, fate, nature, destiny, they have a way of presenting opportunities that can be seen as setbacks or as distractions to some people, and kind of a negative connotation to them. Or they can be seen as opportunities for you to exhibit these other qualities about yourself that you want to be, that you want to represent to the world, who you want to be. And as we've always said on this program, it's a lot easier said than done. My God, is that true? But through taking time to reflect on these situations and see them for what they are, that yes, I am profoundly sad right now, and I'm grieving, and how do I want to show my respect for the person lost, or the opportunity that was seemingly taken from me, or that I'm blocked from? Am I going to get angry and frustrated, or am I going to go back to the drawing board and try a new strategy to accomplish that goal? How are you going to respond to these, to fate, to destiny, to these things that come out of the left field and constantly change just our routine, really? It's people often, I personally am a strong believer that a person is their routine, and coming back to routine and simplifying life can just allow you to reserve a lot of your mental energy for very specific tasks. And that's not to say, though, to hold on to the routine rigidly, and when something comes out of the left field and alters or disrupts or completely upsets your routine, that's not to say that you should so rigidly hold to the routine that you can't function in these times, but to take that as time to reflect on, again, who you want to be. It's an opportunity to demonstrate those skills that you've picked up along the way, that you've seen other people exhibit, that you would like to adopt or adapt into. It sounds like that's what he's really saying, and that's the best way to approach situations, trying to find the logic and the rationale behind them, and not only in how they're making you feel, but in how you will respond to them, and doing it with intent, as what we've discussed numerous times in these passages. Being intentful with your speech, your actions, your thoughts. That's not to say that to just let the mind wander and figure it out is, like, that sounds somewhat random, but if you're intentful and you want to get to the bottom of what you're really feeling about a situation and your beliefs, sometimes you might have to be intentful in letting your mind wander, feeling the feelings, seeing what thoughts come up, analyzing them. And when there's emotions involved, it can make that whole process, it can accelerate it, it can slow it down, it can scramble everything so there's so much at once, it can be demotivating. But continuing to pursue the logic and rationality of your intentions, and trying to understand why certain things have happened and understand why you're responding to it in a certain way, and how you're going to respond, is the name of the game, and the name of game to having the highest likelihood of a good and worthwhile life, and through these situations we have those opportunities to explore ourselves. Thanks for listening.